Okay, so we're talking about a few different things. We're going to talk about percent of original price, what homes are selling for in comparison to what they're listed at on a whole. We're going to look at Frisco. We're going to look at some areas, Collin County. We're going to look at all of MLS. That one is a huge one. It's never, the numbers that I'm seeing right now have never been seen before in North Texas. Again, another metric. I haven't talked about this one before, but I wanted to talk about it because it's going to show you what the market is doing. We're going to get to that. I also want to talk about new home buyers, which new home buyers now is honestly a really, really tough time to buy. Most first-time home buyers are going to be putting the bare minimum of down payment and closing costs and things like that, which is fine. But in this market, it is very, very, very tough to get in the market currently. So you might need to wait, but we'll talk about that. That's pretty much it. And then a couple other numbers that kind of come up when we're talking. So first off, first-time home buyers. It is unless you have some extra cash sitting around and you're willing to put that extra cash into your new home, we're talking on top of down payment, on top of closing costs, to pay for a potential appraisal gap, which I'll get into that as well, then it's a very, very tough time to get into the market. The thing you can do, we can look at new homes. If you want to hire me, if you want me to help you during the process and be with you the entire time, then you need to contact me before you contact the builder or the new home person, because a lot of these builders, if you go in on your own and you say I'm interested in a house, and then later you go, hey, I want to bring in Jordan, I want him to help us, they're going to say no, can't do that. Sorry, you're on your own. Now, you're not really on your own, but instead of them paying me, you're going to be paying me, and it probably won't make sense financially for you to do that on a new home. So talk to me before you talk to these builders. I can also help you navigate what builders to focus on and what builders to stay away from. A lot of experience with new homes. So honestly, that's going to be really, really tough, because what we're seeing in the North Texas market is all of the good homes, the homes that are priced well, the homes that look good, the homes that are turnkey, are selling for more than they're really worth at the moment that they're closing. Now, once they close, they become a comp, and that's what the market shows that it's worth. However, these sellers are expecting you to put in additional cash above and beyond what you're expected to bring with your closing costs, down payment, all of that. So that's more of a situation offline. That's a customized conversation to you, because there's really no general rule for all that stuff. So first-time homebuyers, really challenging time. Give me a call, shoot me a message. Let's have a conversation about what we need to do to set you up for success and go from there, whether that's now or it's later. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the percent of list price or original list price. So what that is it's a percentage that shows you how our house is selling. Are they selling above list price? Are they selling below list price? And how high or low are they selling? For example, let's use a $100,000 home. There's literally nothing, well, not literally, but there's really hardly anything for $100,000. And if you do find something for that, it's probably not going to be livable in most areas that I work. But let's use a $100,000 house. So a house is listed at $100,000, and it goes on the market at $100,000. Let's say that house closes at $100,000. So then your your sold percentage of original list price is 100%. So a $100,000 home sold for $100,000, it's 100% of list price. If it sells for $105,000, then it's going to be $105,000 of list price. If it's below that and it sells for $95,000 on a $100,000 home, it's going to sell, the percentage is 95%. So now that you understand what percent of list price is, let's get into what we're seeing. So overall North Texas market. So let's go to all of our MLS right now. All of our MLS, and this has never happened before as far as these numbers go back. These numbers go back to 2003. I don't have data before that in this system. This is what I use to track all the numbers, so we're going to keep to this system. So never in the history, and I doubt it was before that, because we've never had as strong as a market as we have in the past few years. We've never seen the median percent of list price up to this point, over 99.4%. Take a wild guess where we're at right now. The entire North Texas market is selling for 100% of list price. Now, some are selling higher than that, some are selling lower than that. However, on median, which is sort of like average, 100% of list price. Mind-blowing, right? So you might think, well, that's no big deal. Like, I see a list price, I buy the house, but we've never seen that number before, ever. Now, the other thing I want to look at is let's look at Collin County. We do a bunch of business in Collin County. Collin County, on average, is selling for 100.7% of list price. That means, as a median, or sort of average, houses are selling for more than they're listed at. And if you're looking and you've been shopping, you know that. Houses I've been seeing, if you're in like that 600-ish price point, houses are going 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 over list price. So that's Collin County. Let's look at Denton County. So Denton County is selling for 100% of list price. Crazy. Let's see what this one's at. And it's loading. So, good news. Dallas, and I've been talking about this for a little while. Dallas market is a little softer than up north of Dallas. Dallas market is selling 98.7% of list price. It's a little bit easier to buy a property there right now. Now, let's look at some areas. Let's look at Frisco. Frisco is selling for 101.5% of list price. 101.5. So you're paying 1.5% over list price for most homes in Frisco. Well, I take that back because there are a massive amount of homes that are selling for 5, 10% over list price. So I have buyers that are experiencing this. I have sellers that are experiencing this. So this is something to absolutely be aware of. So why did I bring this up? Why does this matter? First off, if you are in the market and you are looking and you're calculating your numbers and you're calculating your down payment and your closing cost and you don't have additional cash to buy a house right now, you're probably not going to get a house. Now, it all depends on the area. You notice Dallas is a little softer, Frisco is a little hotter, so it obviously depends. We need to have a conversation offline to see what your situation is and what you're looking for, and I can advise you on what the market is doing. However, if you don't have that extra cash right now, you're going to have a very, 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 very hard time. I hate using the word impossible, but nearly impossible time purchasing a house in the market right now the way it is. So you need extra cash, and you need extra cash because you're going to put your down payment, your regular down payment you already expected to put down, you're going to put your closing costs, and then in order to even have an opportunity to win for a bid, you're going to offer more than the house is listed for, and the seller is going to expect you to fill out an appraisal waiver or an appraisal addendum. What that is, there's really 3 boxes on there. There's really 3 options in appraisal addendum. We're going to talk about 2. The first one, you're waiving the rights to walk away for an appraisal. That means you will write a blank check in addition to all your closing costs and all your down payment to close on the home if any appraisal is lower than what you're offering on the house. That is the most common. That is usually expected almost all transactions. I found that sometimes the seller's okay with not taking an appraisal waiver, but your offer needs to be very strong. On the other side, the second option is an appraisal gap. What you're doing is you're committing to the seller, I'm willing to pay as much money as needed as long as the house appraises at this value. So, for example, if you're purchasing, let's use that $100,000 home, for example. It obviously doesn't exist in North Texas, but let's use that $100,000 number. So, house is listed at $100,000. You're willing to pay $110,000. That seller is going to go, your $110,000 offer doesn't mean anything to us unless you're willing to guarantee that you will make up the appraisal difference. So you have 2 ways of doing that as a buyer. You can say, yeah, we'll put as much cash in there as we need to make up the appraisal gap. If it comes in at 100, 90, 80, 50, 30, we'll make up all the additional cash that is required to do that. As a seller, love those. When I represent a seller, I love those. As a buyer, it's a blank check. You got to be real careful with that, and you got to know what you're doing. The other option, which is less desirable for a seller, more desirable for a buyer, the second option is saying, hey, we're going to offer $110,000 on that house, and if it appraises at least at $100,000, we'll put in all the extra cash that's needed to close on that deal. So if the appraisal comes in at 100, this buyer is moving forward and they're making up the cash. 101, 102, 105, 110, they're moving forward per the contract. If it comes in at 99 and you put in there that you're willing to do it if appraisal's 100 or higher, if it comes in 99, You basically go back to the seller, sellers and buyers talk. You say, hey, we got to figure this out. How do we figure it out? Negotiate. And then you figure it out and you hopefully move forward. But that is how that works. If you can't or are not comfortable doing that in the current market, in these markets that are very hot, you need to reevaluate your time frame, because the market's not going to be like this forever. It's going to get back to some sort of normalcy. But right now, it's not. So you need to reevaluate. If you want me to help you reevaluate and you want my advice and you want my opinion on it, happy to do that. Reach out to me offline. We'll have a one-on-one private conversation and figure out your situation and how best to move forward. Anyways, guys, the market is insane. Let me pull up a couple of things. So, let me see here. We're going to pull up our sales price. So let's look at entire MLS. Entire MLS, resale single-family houses, 297. It's the highest we've ever had, obviously. That's not a surprise. Days on market, the lowest we've ever had, 9 days on market as a median. Month supply, shocker, lowest month supply we've ever had. Lowest we've ever had up to this point is 1. And now we're less than a month of inventory. It's insane. New house on the market, about 6,000. Closed sales, about 6,000. So crazy, crazy market. I'll get up and I'll do the full thing for February, because we're about mid-month. We have all the data for February now, and I'll get that out. I just wanted to, I was thinking about how insane this market is and how I knew, I hadn't even looked at these numbers before I started this video, before I sat in here to do the video. And I knew that if I pulled up the percent of original list price, it would be over 100%, because that's what the market's doing, especially in the markets like Collin County, like Frisco, all of those areas. So yeah, anyways, it's just bonkers right now. Bonkers. So, my buyers are still winning offers. My sellers are loving this market. If you're a seller, obviously the biggest concern for you is, if I sell and take advantage of the best market that's ever been in North Texas for sellers, what do I do now? How do I buy? What do I buy? Am I going to pay an extraordinary amount of money to buy? Am I going to be able to even buy? So a lot of concern there. Every situation is different. There are literally dozens of options for you when it comes to a seller selling your house in this market. What's next for you? There are literally dozens of options, and some of them are really cool. So we might get into that we might do a video about that later, because some of these are humorous, but very cool too. Anyways, guys, that's what I have for you today. If you guys have questions on this, comment below. Also, subscribe to the channel. This is on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, like, turn on the notification, all that stuff. I should probably start saying that more. But I appreciate you watching these. I hope these are helpful. And if there's anything you need in North Texas with real estate, let me know. We specialize in residential. We also have commercial people that would be happy to take care of you. And if you're not in North Texas and you're looking anywhere in the world, let us know, because we have a network of the top agents across the globe. Whether you're buying, you're selling, you're investing, or you just want to understand what a certain area is. Like you want more information on Fort Lauderdale. I'll get you an agent. I'll connect you with our agent in Fort Lauderdale. They're going to answer questions for you and see if that's even a place that you want to move to. No offense, Fort Lauderdale. I'm just using you as an example because I'm thinking about the beach right now. Cool. So thanks so much for joining me. My name is Jordan Bellinger with the Bacon Bellinger Real Estate Group at Coldwell Banker Apex in North Texas. If there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. Bye.